Hey everyone, welcome back to Psychology of Rock. If you're new here, my name's Nina. And the other day when I was driving home, I heard a song come on the radio that I have not heard in forever, which was The Grand Illusion by Styx. I love the band, so I immediately turned it up and I was instantly struck by the lyrics. Now, I have probably heard this song 100 times before, if not more than that, but somehow I've never really paid attention to how profound of a song this really is. I started to realize that it's this perfectly constructed statement about the state of the world right now and the sickness of the absurdly superficial society that we are living in. So when the song ended, I could not stop thinking about it. So when I got home, I dug through my albums, I found it, and I put that track on several times in a row, and I was just floored at how prophetic these words really are. Now, we have to remember that this album came out in 1977. In fact, it was released on 7/7/77 for good luck. And it also happens to be their 7th album, which was obviously way before even the conception of social media, which is remarkable to think about because this song has only become more relevant with time. It's also interesting to note that the song, which was written by Dennis DeYoung, by the way, was never actually released as a single, although it did get a substantial amount of airplay and had inspired the theme for the entire album, which the band has said is that things aren't always as they appear, and that it's a grand illusion that money, success, and fame, all the things that are coveted by our society, are the keys to happiness. The album seems to challenge this ideology, and the band even used themselves as an example, saying that even how they are portrayed is just an illusion. Dennis was quoted as saying, "Look at us up here on this stage in these good lights. You kids there in the audience in the 14th row, you think that we know stuff? We may know a little bit, but deep inside we're all the same. And what we're doing and what people that advertise to you on the radio, TV, and magazines by creating illusions and images about how your life should be, those are just their fantasies because nobody's life is like it." I think this type of brutal honesty is part of the reason why the album is such a lyrical masterpiece. He went on to say in a 2020 interview, "You know what we're selling? We're selling music, baby. We're selling t-shirts and concert tickets. So take it for what it is." Now, while I do think this statement completely undervalues all the band really brings to the table, I also think it sets them apart completely from the machine that is quickly becoming the music industry and the steady rise of consumerism. But after really contemplating this song, I actually think it has layers of commentary and actually explores a lot of our universal human experiences, like trying to find meaning in this life, especially given the manipulation of media and the obvious push towards consumerism. I think this song questions exactly what many of us are starting to question right now. So let's go ahead and go through the lyrics together so we can really appreciate how masterful they truly are and start to unpeel some of these layers. Now, before we begin, I have to give the caveat that this is just my own personal analysis. I am in no way attempting to speak for the band. And of course, with any work of art, there can be multiple valid meanings and interpretations, including whatever the song means to us personally. So with all of that being said, let's dive into The Grand Illusion.
All that is somebody else's fantasy. You know what I'm saying to you?
So the song starts out with the lines, "Welcome to the Grand Illusion. Come on in and see what's happening. Pay the price, get your tickets for the show. The stage is set, the band starts playing. Suddenly your heart is pounding, wishing secretly you were a star." So I think these lines are just setting the stage for the song's central theme, which seems to be the idea that life, particularly as portrayed by the media and society, is just a big facade, that it's merely a show that's not based on reality. But the song is also saying that it's a show that we are all in, even if we don't realize that we're participating in it. It's also saying that there's a cost of this illusionary world, that we pay a price to be in it that's likely more than just financial. For most of us, there's also an emotional and psychological toll, and living this way can clearly also come at the cost of our own happiness. The verse starts to describe this theatrical performance we're all watching and how alluring it is for us, and how we're all secretly desiring that we could have this type of fame and recognition for ourselves because we buy into this fantasy. But all of this is questioned in the next part of the song, which serves as almost a warning for us not to get pulled into all of this or to let ourselves be misled by these artificially constructed desires and ideals and the belief that celebrity or extreme wealth is going to make our lives somehow meaningful. It says, don't be fooled by the radio, the TV, or the magazines. They show you photographs of how your life should be, but they're just someone else's fantasy. So if you think your life is complete confusion because you never win the game, just remember it's a grand illusion, and deep inside we're all the same. We're all the same. So here the song directly points a finger at the media as being the source of the illusion, saying that it has the dangerous power of being able to shape our perceptions and aspirations through carefully curated images and narratives that make us feel inferior or that our own authentic lives are lacking. It's saying that this illusion is not only unattainable and damaging, but that these things aren't even real for the people who appear to have them, that even for them it's just a fantasy that they are trying to pass off as reality, which I think Dennis really hit upon when he was talking about the band. I think these lines acknowledge the potential for feelings of inadequacy that we can experience when we start comparing ourselves to these idealized images presented not only by traditional media, but in present day also social media, which can sometimes be almost worse because it just breeds social comparison when we're just staring at everyone's highlight reels and feeling like our own lives are nothing in comparison. The song is reminding us that this type of consumption can make us feel confused and feel like we're constantly falling short and that we don't measure up. So we have to make sure that we remember that in reality, these images are just fake and meaningless, that things are definitely not always as they seem, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, as we're all seeing being played out right now with all the scandals going on. But I think those last two lines really are the most important here because they're saying that none of this even matters anyway, that even when we try to create this facade on the outside, and even if we do find this type of superficial success, it doesn't make us any better than anyone else. In the end, we're all just the same. We're all just human beings trying to navigate this world, and deep down, we share a lot of the same human experiences, even when our lives seem really different. Even people who appear like they have it all can still struggle with insecurities and doubts and have just as many problems as anyone else, because that is the reality of life. Being able to live in a certain way is never going to be able to save us from that. It doesn't matter how much fame or wealth we have. The song takes this even further in the last lines that say, America spells competition. Join us in our blind ambition. Get yourself a brand new motor car. Someday soon we'll stop to ponder what on earth is this spell we're under. We made the grade and still we wonder who the hell we are. Talk about a powerful way to end a song. So really it's saying that this type of thinking is one of the defining characteristics of our culture, and it offers a cynical invitation to join this relentless pursuit of materialism and social status. I love that he chose the word blind here because it gives the connotation that is driven by a lack of clear vision and a lack of understanding of what truly does matter in life. The phrase blind ambition to me suggests that we can have an almost reckless quest of these superficial goals and fail to really consider the potential consequences of these things and if they could really ever truly make us happy. The song is saying that we lead ourselves to believe that things like a new car or whatever thing we see on TV is going to make us feel better about life, but really we're just deluding ourselves by buying into all this madness. But the song also says that at some point we'll start to question all of this and realize that it's a sham that we've been told to believe in. I love the last line because it's stating that even when we follow this path and buy into the illusion and accumulate all the things that we've been told gives our life meaning, that we can still end up lost and unhappy because in reality, the aspiration in and of itself is a facade that actually pulls us away from living an authentic and fulfilling life. I think the song serves as a critical reminder to question the superficiality of our culture and manufactured realities in general. It's telling us that we need to figure it out for ourselves and create our own path, even if it challenges the status quo. And like I said earlier, these lyrics are only becoming more relevant with time. Now, I do tend to gravitate towards concept albums in general, but I really think that the theme that we see in The Grand Illusion is something that we can all really deeply identify with right now, given everything happening in the world. And I'm just so thankful that the song came on the radio that day, because I appreciate it even more after analyzing it and just hearing it in a time where it really needs to be heard. And of course, I would love to hear your thoughts on the song, so please leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe, and definitely let me know what song you'd like me to analyze next. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.